Hello guys, how are you doing? I hope everyone is good. So we have discussed a couple of concepts in yesterday's class. So let me open the running notes. I hope it is not saved because it has closed unexpectedly in between. Hi Gopal. Okay. So yesterday we have basically discussed about object repository. So we started with what is object repository and how many different types of object repositories we have. And we have started with discussing about local object repository. So we have discussed about, we have started about object repository, and we have seen whenever the object is missing from object repository, what is going to happen. So whenever the object is missing from the object repository, and if you are trying to run that particular script, so the script will fail because it is not able to identify or it is not able to locate the object in the object repository. So let me open yesterday's session. Like yesterday's script that we basically recorded. So let me write down today's date so that we are aware of what we are discussing. So today is 11th. All right. Today also we are continuing with object repository. All right. Let me open the QTP or UFT. Continue. So we are still on the window-based application. I'm simply clicking on OK button. All right. So let me resize the window so that it would be easier for us. So let me also open the application. Yesterday we have recorded our script on slide 3A. So from where we can see that slide 3A, if you go to My Computer, under My Computer, if you go to C drive, under C drive you have something called as Program Files. Under Program Files, we can see something called as HP. Under HP, it's Unified Functional Testing. And under this, you can see a folder called as Samples. So under Samples, it is Flight. Under Flight, it would be APP. And under this, we recorded on this slide 3A. Let me open that particular application. So let me log in. So meanwhile, let me open the script. Let me open the script that we have basically recorded. Open. Test. Right. So here, yesterday I have saved under my folder. Let me open that folder. On desktop, under this folder. So which is my script? This is my script. All right. Now let me go to the action one. So let me switch over to the keyword view because we are still in the basic QTP. Let me go with the keyword view only. So this is the script that we have recorded. Now let me run this. Let me run this. So it will enter the date of flight, then it should select the value. Alright, now if you see, the script is running successfully without any issues, correct? Now, let's consider this particular scenario. Let's say that they are like the developers are planning to build the next build. That means they are planning to develop the next version of the application. So right now we have flight 3A. So the client requirement is he wants a new application to be developed. That means he wants the next version of the application to be developed. So the developers have already developed that particular application and they have given for the testing team to test that particular application. So what we do is whenever there is a new build that has been received by the testing team, I'm repeating again, whenever there is a new build that has been received by the testing team, now the testing team should make sure whether that particular build is working properly. That means there are chances of adding some new options in the new build, or there are chances of modifying the existing fields, or there are chances of deleting some of the options also. We don't know. So what we do is whenever there is a new build that has been released, we need to run our automation script on that new build. That is the purpose of creating our automation scripts. We can reuse the same script again and again on multiple builds whenever we want to test the application. So whenever a new build has been released, we do something called as regression testing. So what we do as part of the regression testing is, let's say you have 100 test cases. Let's say you have 100 test cases. Now we are going to execute all the 100 test cases. And let's say that the client has added or the developers have added some new features, probably 15 or 20 new options. We are testing whether those new options are working properly. And how it will work is sometimes there are chances of finding the defects in the previous build. So we need to make sure in the new build, whether the defect has been fixed or not. This whole thing is called as regression testing. So I'm repeating again, what is regression testing? Regression testing is to make sure whatever defects that has been found in the previous build has been fixed or not in the new build. And because of fixing of previous build defects in the new build, whether any new defects are coming up. Suppose if the developers have added some new features, we are making sure whether those new features are working properly or not. So this is what we do as part of the regression testing. Now I'm keeping that regression testing concept aside. Now what I am doing is I'm basically explaining you this particular script how we can execute on the new build. It's not like for build 3A we have one script and for build 4A we have another script, or for build 4 we have another script. For all the builds there will be only one script. That script has to work on every build that has been released. So this is not only on build to build. There are cases where we need to run our automation scripts on multiple environments. So whenever we are working in the organizations, every organization has three common environments called as development environment. Another is testing environment, which is nothing but QA environment. Another is something called as production environment. Production or client environment. Right? So anyways, we don't do our testing on the development environment. This environment is used only by the developers. But coming to the testing environment and production environment, we have to basically test whether the application is working on both the environments. Now, we need to run our script in the testing environment, and there are cases where we need to run our script in the production environment also. So whatever script I have developed in the testing environment, it has to work in the production environment also. So let's see, from build to build, like whenever a new build is released, and I'm trying to execute that particular script on the new build, and let's see what basically the issues we will face across. So I'm not closing this old build. I'm not closing the old application, that is flight 3A. So let me open the new application. So from where I can open the new application is if you go to Start, Flight GUI. So let me enter the agent name. Let me enter the password. So I'm manually, this is build 4. This is the new build. So let's compare manually what are the differences between the old build and the new build. Whatever I have on my left hand side is the old build, and whatever I have on my right hand side is the new build. Right? Okay. So let's compare. First thing is the window size is changed. Next thing, the buttons, here I have how many buttons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But coming to here, they have deleted one of the buttons. Which button they have removed? The print option they have removed. But we did not record any step on that. I'm okay with it. Now, coming to the other options, date of flight. Here you have date of flight, fly from, fly to, fly to. Flights. Now, customer name. But here, what is it? It's name. And these fields, here it is one after the other. But coming to my old application, it is one below the other. And another thing is, these fields or these objects, here it is one below the other. But coming to here, it is one after the other. Now here, you have the name of the button as insert. But coming to here, the name has been changed to insert order. Coming to the update, here it is update order. Coming to the delete, it is delete order. Right? Now there are there are some of the changes that has been done. I can't say some of the changes. Like in my application, I would say that 60% of the changes has been done here. So let's see whatever script I have recorded for build 3A, whether it will run on build 4 or not. So I'm not doing anything. I'm not modifying anything. I'm simply clicking on this run button. So let me click on run. Okay. Now first, it entered the date, selected a value, clicked on flights. Okay. Till there, the script is not having any issues. Now coming to the customer name step. It is trying to do something on the application, but the step is not yet executed. Now it has some time. Why it is basically paused at that particular point is your UFT will take some time. So let's not talk about the time. Now let's discuss about what is the issue that we have faced across. Now here it is giving you a run error. So why it is called as run error? I'm running my QTP script. I got an error. That is the reason it's called as a run error. Right? Now, what is the error message you got? You got an error message as cannot identify the object customer name. It's not saying that cannot locate or cannot find. It's saying that cannot identify the object customer name. That means from where this customer name is coming, this customer name, it is stored in my object repository. Now this particular customer name that is stored in my object repository, the same object is not existing in my application. Right? That is the reason why it says that cannot identify. That means Object is there. Object is there. It is okay with the object. But it is not able to exactly match the properties that are existing in my application. Okay, let me give you a simple example. Now, let's say that you have parked your car in a parking lot. You have parked your car in a parking lot and you are searching for it. You are searching for it. Now, whenever someone asks you for what you are searching, you will say that I parked my car somewhere. I am not able to identify where I have parked. Right? Something, suppose if the car itself is not parked there, or when you are trying to search it, then we will say that cannot find. Right? So there is a very basic difference between the find and the identify. Identify issue you will get. This is the issue. Cannot identify the object. Identify message you will get only when the object is there in your repository, but the properties of that particular object is not matching with the object that is there in your application. In my object repository, there is a customer name. For that customer name, you have some set of properties and values. Those properties and values are not matching with the application object properties and values. That is the reason why it is giving that particular error message. So what I'm going to do is, let me open the object repository manually and let's try to find it whether the properties are exactly matching or not. So let me click on the stop button. There is no point of continuing. Let me click on stop button. I clicked on stop button. Now what I'm doing is, so let me close this results window. Alright, let me go to resources. Click on this object repository. Okay, so this is my object repository. Alright, so what is the issue we are facing with customer name? Customer name. Now, let me compare this particular object properties and values with the application object properties and values. This is the place where it needs to enter the name. Alright, so now what I'll do is I'll compare these properties with the properties that are there in my application. So how I can compare is, already I have the properties of my old object, old application object. Now I am clicking on this particular button called Object Spy. So click on Object Spy. Now here you have a hand icon. Click on it. I am clicking on the name object because this is the issue where I am facing it. Alright, so keep this particular dialog box on one side. Keep both of them side by side. Alright, let's compare manually. So this is my old application object. Native class, it's edit. Okay, so here, what is the property, what is the value for the native class? Let's see here. So, and where it is, okay, native class. See that? So native class, it's edit. Both are matching. There is no conflict. Now coming to the attached text, it is customer name. But coming to here, attached text, in my new application it is there as name. So this particular value is not matching with the new object value. That is the reason why it is giving that issue. But coming to the other objects, so let me take this date of flight. Alright, so I can't click because this is open. Let me close. Let me select this date of flight. So it has REGEXP window title. That is one of the properties that it has taken. So let me compare with the new application object. So how I will compare? Click on this Object Spy. Click on this hand icon. Now click on this date of flight. Alright, keep both of them side by side. Now what is the property? REGEXP window title. Sorry, REGEXP WND class. So go to the same property. Alright, So REGEXPWND class. Now, are both of them matching? Yes, both are matching. That is the reason why it is not giving any issue on that particular object. Alright, so coming to this particular object, there is an issue. So now what I need to do is, I need to update. There is no point of deleting and adding it. I can keep the object just like that, but I can update the properties and values of an object. Alright, so let me show you how we can update. Here we have an option next to that plus button. There is an option called update from application. So click on that update from application. You got a hand icon. With that, I'm clicking on this name object. So let me click on this name object. You got a object selection dialog box. Simply click on OK button. As soon as I click on OK button, the properties of that particular object has been changed to the new properties and values that is there in your application. Now, there is another option. How you can, before you compare manually whether the object properties are changed, there is a automatic option here called as highlight in the application. So I selected that object. I am clicking on this highlight in the application. What it is doing? It is basically highlighting the object that is there in your repository. The reason is there is no conflict between the object that is there in your object repository and the object that is there in your application. That is the reason why it is highlighting. Suppose if there is a conflict in terms of the properties and values, it will not highlight it. It will not highlight at all. This is one of the clear indication that, okay, my object properties and values has been changed to the new application object properties and values. Now, hold on. So the properties are okay, but the name is not changed. Now, suppose if the name is not matching, will it run? It's okay. Name can be anything. This name and this particular name can be anything. But your UFT or QTP will always identify the object based on the properties and values only. It will identify the objects based on the properties and values only. Okay, forget about all this QTP, UFT and everything. Let me give you a simple example how basically we will be working with. Now, let's say that I'm conducting a classroom training. All of you have come for the classroom training, and on the first day I have taken a demo session for 1.5 hours. On the first day I have taken a demo session for 1.5 hours, and I am saying that this week I am little bit busy, so let's start our classes from next Monday. Alright, so I said, and we have basically dispersed from the class. Now let's say that on a weekend you have come to a shopping mall. I also have come to the same shopping mall. Both of us are walking in the opposite direction to each other. I saw you and you have seen me. Now, as soon as I see you, I'll be stopping for a while, or you will be stopping for a while to say hi, right? Because whenever you saw me or whenever I saw you, I have basically captured the physical description of you and I have stored in my memory, right? So whenever I am seeing you for the next time, I am identifying you only on basis of your properties and values. I cannot identify you, or I will not identify you based on the name, because nowhere the name is displayed over my body, right? So always we will identify the objects, always we will identify some particular item based on the properties and values only, not based on the name. So name is a secondary thing, right? In the same way, your UFT or QTP will always identify the objects based on the properties and values only. It will not identify, or it will not execute that particular step based on the name. Now, to take the same example, let me give the name which is completely independent of something. So I am giving as XYZ. I've given the name of the object as XYZ. Alright, so let me close this repository. Let me run. Okay, before I run, let me clear off the data. So now I'm clicking on this run button. Alright, so now let's see whether the script would be executed or the step for the name would be executed or not. See that? It entered the name, but the name in my object repository is XYZ. It should not run, but it is running. Why it is running? Because the properties and values are exactly matching. That is the reason why it is running. The name, it is not considering the name at all. Name can be anything. So this is one of the example how QTP will identify the objects. Now coming to the insert step. Why it is not running? Because the object that is there in your object repository, those properties are not matching with the application object properties and values. That is the reason why it is not executing that particular script. So in my object repository, the properties of this particular object is not exactly same as the properties and values of this. So let me click on the stop. In the same way how you update it, we'll be updating in the same way. So let's first compare it manually and then we will know whether there is any conflict, then we will update. Resources, object repository. So the issue is with this insert. Okay, text native class. Let me click on this object spine. Let me click on this hand icon. Let me click on this insert order. Okay, keep both of them side by side. Now compare manually. Text ampersand insert in my old application. But in my new application, what is the value for text? It is insert order. That is a conflict. Native class, here it is button. But coming to the new application, here also it is button. So the issue is not with this. The issue is not with this. The issue is with this particular property and value. So how I will handle that? I will click on this update from application. Let me close this. I'll click on this update from application. I'm clicking on this insert order button. Click on OK. So the properties have been updated. Let me close. Let me rerun the whole script. Run. Click on run button here. Now it should enter the name. Yes, correct. Now after that, it should click on insert order button because the properties of the object that is there in the object repository is matching with the application object properties and values. That is the reason why it is successfully running that particular script. Right? This is how we'll use the update option whenever a new build has been released for testing. Almost for half a day or one day, we will be busy in terms of updating the object properties and values because we are working on a bigger project. When you are working on a bigger project, there are cases where 100 to 150 objects can also be changed. I'm talking about the in a worse scenario I'm talking about. But usually I did not see those 100 or 150 changes in nearby. That means from the last 4 years or 5 years, I did not see any of them from any of the projects that I am working with. But we will be using this update from application option whenever a new build has been released, and we will be updating the object properties and values, and we'll be running the script. This is how we do manually, like update from application. So the same thing I can also do by using a different option called as maintenance run mode. So that maintenance run mode we will discuss. Before I go there, any questions, guys? Any questions, guys? All right. So let's move on with the next topic called as, it's not a topic basically, it's an option that we have called as maintenance run mode. Okay, so when we'll be using this maintenance run mode is whenever my objects in the application got changed, and if I want to update those objects, I'll be using this automatic option called maintenance run mode. So how I can use this particular option is, okay, on this application I can't use because already I have updated everything. Let us take the previous build, that is build 3 I am taking, and let's try to run the script on that by using maintenance run mode. Let me save the script first. Alright, so let me take the old build app, so flight 3A. Let me log in. Alright, so let me run this script. Let me run this particular script by going to the run. Under run, you have maintenance run mode. Click on that maintenance run mode. Now click on this run button. So it has entered the data of flight, fly from, fly to, clicked on flights. Now it is trying to run that particular XYZ is nothing but name step, guys. So it is trying to enter the name in that customer name field. It is trying to enter the name in that particular customer name field. Let's see whether it can basically enter that name or not. Okay, it's not able to. It is not able to enter the name, right? So it says that you got a new window. So what is that new window? You got a window called as maintenance run wizard. All right. So in that maintenance run wizard, it is clearly saying that the step failed. The object was not found. Right? Says that the object is not found. Now let's see. Object WinEdit XYZ step. This step has the issue. Window of flight reservation dot WinEdit of XYZ dot set of Naresh. So this particular step is to enter the name in that particular field. So it's not able to enter the name in that particular field because something has been changed. In order to find out what has been changed, I need to click on this point. So there is a point button. Click on that point button. Now this particular object is not able to execute. So click on that particular customer name object. Now click on this OK button. It will automatically say what has been changed. So the thing that has been changed is attached text. So for attached text, the actual value that is there in my object repository is name, but the value that is there in our application, that means the object that is there in our application for that particular object, the one of the property for attached text, the value is customer name. So name and customer name, both of them are not matching. That is the reason why it is not able to run. So what I can say is, I can say to QTP that update the object property values and return the step. That means I'm asking my UFT or QTP to update only the object properties and values, nothing else. That means the step should be same, but the object properties and values should be modified in my object repository. So that is the reason I'm going with this particular option called as update the object property values and return the step. Simply click on OK button here. So it will update automatically and it will perform that particular step. Right? Now it is not able to run, it is not able to execute that insert step because something has been changed in the repository. Now, so it says win button insert, this is the step that has the issue, right? So what I need to do, I need to click on this point. Now click on this particular insert, click on OK. Alright, text ampersand insert order, and here the new value is ampersand insert. So both are not matching. So just update it, click on OK. Now it has executed that particular step. So it will also say at the end, 0 objects were added to the local object repository. Did we add any new objects? We did not add any new objects. 2 object properties were updated. We have only updated the object properties and values. Right? Click on finish. So the execution would be completed. Now here in your results you can see something called as warning. You can see something called as warning. Let me right click, expand all. So here you can also read what actually it has been changed. So here description, if you go, so the native class attached text, this is what the conflict is. That is the reason why it is giving you as warning. What we did with the help of maintenance, we have basically updated. Test object updated. This is the thing that has been updated. Now this is the step that it has been performed. Now in the same way, for insert button, the properties has been changed. This is the description, what it has written. Now it has basically clicked on that insert order button and finally it clicked on new order button. So this is how we would be using that maintenance run mode. So a lot of people, whenever we are working on the projects, they prefer to use the maintenance run mode because it's one of the easiest options that you have, and whenever the object has the issue, then and there you can fix it and then continue with your execution. So this is another way how we can update the object properties and values, and we can run that particular script. Okay, any questions? Yes, it is saved automatically because whenever you are saving your script, it will also save the object repository automatically. So whenever you are saving your script, it will save the whole script, it will save the object repository, and there are other things called data table. This data table also will be saved. Whatever we have opened in our UFT, everything would be saved. That's your question, Purnima? All right. Any other questions, guys? All right. So if you don't have any questions, so let's move on with the next topic. So the next topic that I want to take is something called as synchronization point. Synchronization point. So what is the synchronization point, or why we need to use synchronization point, or what are the advantages that we have, or what is the drawback if you are not using the synchronization point? All these things we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. But before I go there, this is a very important question that they might be asking you in the interviews regarding the synchronization point. So you can basically expect at least 2 to 3 questions from the synchronization point. They may ask you directly what is a synchronization point, or they might ask you, they might give you an example, and they might ask you what concept you would be using this, or they might ask you like, I am getting an issue when I am basically running my script, how you will handle this particular thing in your USP. So this can also be asked. So let's learn this synchronization point clearly, what is a synchronization point, everything and all, and let's see what all the things we can discuss in this particular thing. Just give me a second, guys. Just give me a second, please.
హలో వింటా ఉన్నాను. ఎప్పుడు కాల్ చేశాను? ఓకే.
All right. So, okay, there is a question. Let's see. Okay. So, all right. So let's talk about what is a synchronization point. Okay. Before I explain you what actually is a synchronization point, let's first try to understand where we can use the synchronization point. Then I will basically show you practically how to do it. But before I go there, so let's take a very simple example. I have my QTP tool. So in this, basically what I am doing is I have again the 3 buttons that we are basically discussing right from the first day. What are the buttons that I have is, one is called as record button, another is play button, and I have another button called stop button. Alright, so this is what I have in my QTP tool, and I have an application. I'm talking about a simple application. Let's not make the thing so complicated. So let's talk about a simple application called which is the Gmail application. So in the Gmail application, what I am doing is I have 2 fields. I have 2 fields. One is called as email ID field, that is email address field, and another is the password field. So what are the 2 fields that I have is, one is email ID field, and another is the password field, and I have a button which is nothing but a sign in button. Email ID, and this is nothing but the password field, and the name of this button is sign in button, And the title of this particular application is something called as login. And once I log in into the application, the next window that would be displayed is the home page of your Gmail application, the home page of my Gmail application. And in this particular home page of this Gmail application, I have basically different links on my left hand side. So what are the various links that I have is I have something called as compose, I have sent, I have trash, I have chats, and so on. So in this way, you have multiple links available on your Gmail home page. So what I'm doing is, by using my QTP, I am basically recording the script. So what are the steps I am recording is, first I am basically clicking on the top where I am recording the login step. Then I am basically recording the email ID step. Then I am recording the password step. Then I am recording the sign in step. And after I sign in, after I click on sign in button, I am recording one step to basically click on compose link. To basically click on the compose link, and that step also would be recorded once I click on record button. And once I record, all the steps would be recorded. Now I stop my recording. Now I want to run this particular script. What I do is I'll click on this run button. First it will perform this step, then it will perform the email ID step, then it will perform the password step, then it will perform the sign-in step, and at last it should perform the compose step also. Now, when your UFT can perform this compose step, or when our UFT can run that particular compose step, can someone say that? So when your QTP can go and click on this compose link when I am running? Simple question. After sign in, okay? After sign in. Okay, that's fine. Okay, so in simple words, when my UFT can go and click on that compose link is after this home page is displayed. After the home page is displayed, then only it can go and click on that compose link. Now, what happens with my QTP is, or what happens with my UFT is, it cannot wait for the compose link to be open for unlimited time. That means in QTP or UFT also, in order to perform a single step on the application, or in order to perform every step on the application, I am talking about an individual step. In order to perform every step on the application, QTP has some standard time, or QTP has some maximum amount of time. Suppose if it is a window-based application, like our flight reservation application, that maximum time is 20 seconds. That maximum time that QTP can wait for some particular step to be performed on the application, if it is a window-based application, is 20 seconds. Now, suppose if it is a web-based application like your Gmail or Orkut or Facebook, in order to perform each and every step on the application, QTP can wait for a maximum of 60 seconds. That doesn't mean that we cannot change the time. We can change the time also. But I'm talking about with the default time that you have, that is nothing but a 20 seconds or 60 seconds. Let's say that after you click on sign in button, suppose if home page is taking around 2 minutes to display, or if it is taking around 3 minutes to display, it can wait only for 60 seconds. But your application is taking around 2 minutes or 3 minutes. Can it go and perform? It can't perform. Then obviously at that particular point, my step will fail because it waited for a maximum time of 60 seconds. The application is not yet responded. Before the application got responded, my QTP is trying to perform the step. So as that particular object is not yet displayed, my script will fail. So what I need to say to my QTP is, this time related issues are the very common issues that we will face across on any application. So in order to handle the time related issues, what I can say to my QTP is, okay, click on the sign in button, click on this particular sign in button or perform this sign in step on the application. But after clicking on sign in button, in order to perform this compose step, don't wait exactly for 60 seconds, but wait until the home page is displayed. I'm repeating again, don't wait only for 60 seconds, wait until the home page to be displayed. If I can instruct to my QTP or UFP saying that wait until the home page to be displayed, then go and perform that compose step, then my script will never fail. Because I'm trying to bring in one additional step in between the sign in step and the compose step. That step is nothing but a synchronization point. So the whole purpose of using synchronization point in my QTP or UFP is we are giving some extra time in our QTP script in order my application to be responded. That is the purpose of synchronization point. Giving some additional time on the application, giving some additional time or extra time on the giving some extra time in my QTP script to wait until some particular action to be performed, or in order to wait until some particular window to be displayed, is called as synchronization point. So this particular place, wherever we have to give some extra time, we are going to use the concept of synchronization point. So that is the reason we say synchronization point is a step that we are adding in our QTP in order to wait for some particular step to be completed. That means I am waiting for this particular compose link to be displayed. That is the purpose of giving the synchronization point. Because these time related issues are the very common issues. You can't predict when it would be coming or when it would not be coming. So to give you a simple example, after you finish the class, let's try to, you can explore by yourself. So try to enter the email address, password, click on sign in button and see how much time it is taking to go to the next page. Alright, do this particular activity after you finish the class. And in the morning time, around 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock in the morning, try to perform the same thing. Now, suppose in the night time, if it is taking around 2 seconds to go to the next page, or if it is taking 10 seconds to go to the next page. So probably in the morning, around 11 or 12 in the morning, it might take 1 minute, because it's not only you who is using the internet, there are other people who are using the internet. There are other people who are using the Gmail website, and your system configuration might be low. It also depends on our system configuration. Suppose if I'm using a very fast computer where I have around 12 GB of RAM and where I have around 1 TB of hard disk space, then in my system probably it can take around 2 to 3 seconds to go to the next page. Suppose if I'm using a laptop, where the configuration of my laptop is I'm using around 512 MB of RAM, and I'm using around 120 GB of hard disk space, and I'm using Intel Core processor or AMD processor, then my configuration is completely different than other system. In my system, probably to respond or to go to the next page, it can take around It can take around 10 to 15 seconds also. We don't know. So after we create our automation scripts, it is not like every time we will run our scripts only in the morning or we will run our scripts only in the night time. Suppose if you are running the scripts in the morning time where a lot of people are accessing that website, probably our scripts can fail because we are trying to navigate from one page to the other page. When we are trying to navigate from one page to the other page, obviously it is taking some time. Then obviously if I am not using the synchronization points, my scripts can fail. So that is the reason you have to use the synchronization points in places where whenever you are navigating from one page to the other page, there you have to insert the synchronization point. Whenever you are trying to retrieve the data from the database, or whenever you are trying to capture some values from the application, so in all those places you need to use the synchronization points. Right? Any questions, guys, regarding the concept? Can you please give other situation where synchronization points are required? Yes, it is basically for adding the delay time, Purnima. You are correct. You're correct. So basically we are adding some extra time. In simple words, if you have to summarize, giving some extra time in our QTP script is nothing but synchronization point, other than delay or adding time. Yes, that's correct, Mansur. So we are adding some delay time or we are adding some extra time to our QTP script in order to perform some particular activity, or in order to wait until that particular activity to be completed is nothing but synchronization point. In simple words, you are waiting for something is nothing but a synchronization point. All right. So what I'll do is, let's see the same thing with an example. So I'm going to purposefully create this particular scenario. Now the use is only to wait for some particular time, Mansur. There is no other use. So that is really the advantage of synchronization point, nothing else. And that is what we can do by synchronization point. Only to wait for some extra time. All right. Okay. So let's see practically how we can use the synchronization point. So I am purposefully creating this particular scenario. So let me open the script on the new application. So let us not take the old application. Let's take a new application. I will update it. I know that there will be some issues with this. Let me update. All right. So let me update the things manually. Resources, object repository. So here I am basically giving the name. So whatever name it is, I am modifying it. And I also need to update the properties. So click on this update from application. So click on this. So click on this particular name because these properties I need to update. So why I'm updating? Because the properties are for my old application. So that is the reason I am updating basically. So let me also update this insert, right? So the name of this particular button is insert order. Now I also need to update the properties of this. All right, perfect. Now, I was talking about the default time that we have for window-based applications and the default time that we have for the web-based applications. So from where you can see the default time is, if you go to File, under File you have Settings. Under Settings, you have something called as Run. Under Run, you can see that Object Synchronization Timeout, which is nothing but the 20 seconds. So Object Synchronization Timeout, which is nothing but 20 seconds it says. That means that particular 20 seconds is for every step that you have in your QTP. So that means in order to perform this step, it can wait for a maximum time of 20 seconds. Within that maximum time of 20 seconds, it is expecting that this particular step would be completed. So for performing this step on the application, the maximum time is 20 seconds. For performing this step on the application, the maximum time is 20 seconds. So in this way, for performing each and every step on the application, the maximum time that it can wait is for 20 seconds. And that is not a standard time at all, guys. You can change the time. You can increase the time or you can reduce the time according to your need. So usually you don't reduce the time. You don't reduce the time or you don't increase the time. Because if you reduce the time or increase the time, that time is applicable for every step. So whenever you are getting the issues on some particular step, you have to give some extra time only for that particular step, not for every step that you have in your QTP script. So what I'm doing is purposefully I'm making my script to fail. Purposefully I'm making my script to fail so that I can use the synchronization point there, or so that we can see or we can learn how to insert the synchronization point. What is it? Can you do the format because I can read anything. So which format you are talking about, Sabduna? Okay, I'm not clear with this. What do you mean by changing the format? Another thing is, how about if the sync required is for DB access and also on web? We cannot specify difference time for these two actions required in AUD. Now, are you talking about Windows? Are you comparing between Windows and web-based application together, Purnima? Yeah, in the same way how you are inserting the synchronization point here, the same way you will put it for web also. So we are still working on window-based application. It is too early to ask that particular question saying that how to do on web and DB. So that we are going to take it as a separate session. So as we started with Windows, we are focusing more on window-based application. So again, my concept will be same. If you know how to do it on Windows, so the same thing would be for web also. So let's keep that aside. Let's focus on Windows-based application from where we are basically discussing with. Yes, I can't see anything. Okay, what you are not able to see, Santuna? You are not able to see this particular text. Okay, so let me do this. I'm not sure. Maybe there is some configuration that you need to do on your end. But let me change these options and see whether you are able to or not. So, options. Okay, in this view we can't change anything. Basically, you have to be in the editor view, then you can see better. But this this is the normal thing. Like guys, like other people, are you facing the same issue, guys? Are you able to read? Okay. I think there is something you need to increase the font size on your system, Santana. This is something that you need to do at your end, basically. So this is the maximum size that I can do it actually in this view specifically, right? Because I can't do anything in this view. When you are discussing in basically some editor view, then probably you can increase the size. Yeah, so that can be another option. Like Thomas, as Thomas is saying, you can maximize your go to meeting viewers so that you can see in bigger size. All right. So what I'm doing is so the whatever time I have showed you of 20 seconds. So it's not a fixed time. You can increase it or you can decrease it or you can reduce it. So what I'm doing is purposefully to make my script to fail, I'm reducing the time. So let me reduce the time by going to File Settings, Resources, not Resources, Run, and here it is 20. I'm making it to 2 seconds. That means that 2 seconds is for every step that you have in your QTP script. Now let me click on this Run button. Let me click on Run here. Now, every step it is able to perform within the 2 seconds. You see, till now, I did not face any issues. Now, it clicked on Insert Order button. Okay. You got a message saying that object is disabled. And if you read the complete line, it says, window of flight reservation, dot win button of button, dot click. That means that particular error message is for which step, that particular error message is for which step, we need to understand that. So this particular error message is for this particular object. So if you see, if you read it, window of flight reservation, dot win button of button, dot click. Now dot win button of button is nothing but for this particular button. It is for this particular button. Now, what is the difference between enabled and disabled? So enabled and disabled you will get only for buttons. Now if you see this button, it is disabled because I can't click on it. Now these two buttons are enabled, you can click on it. And these buttons are enabled, you can click on it. But now if you see here, this button is enabled. Why it is saying that it is disabled? Right? So this button, if you see manually, it is enabled. You can click on it. I'm able to click on it. Right? But why your QTP is saying that particular button is disabled? Now let's try to understand manually. Let me click on this stop button. Now, what I'm doing is, I'm going to perform whatever QTP is performing in a manual way. That means I'm going to enter all the details manually. So first I'm clicking on this button, then my QTP is typing that 12, 15, 15. It's selecting a value here, flights, click on OK. Then it is entering the name, then it is entering the number of tickets, class, right? Now, I'm basically clicking on Insert Order button, right? So after I click on Insert Order button, what is the maximum time that my QTP would be waiting? It is only for 2 seconds. And in order to perform this step, how much time it can wait? It can wait only for 2 seconds. Okay, so I'm clicking on Insert Order button, 1, 2. I'm trying to click on it. Am I able to click on it? I'm not able to click on it. When I was able to click? I was able to click only when this happened. Flights, click on OK. Right? So I'm clicking on insert order. So in this time I'm not able to. Right? Now, when I am able to click is, once this particular step is completed, that means once the insert done message with that 3 dots, once this particular text is displayed, once the order number is displayed, then only I can go and click on it. Right? So what I need to say to QTP is, okay, so perform this step, click on this insert order button, but don't try to perform this step immediately after 2 seconds. So I'm giving a condition to my QTP, or I'm giving some extra time in my QTP script, saying that click on this insert order button, wait for this particular process to be completed, wait until that insert done with 3 dots message to be displayed, then go and click on it, then my QTP will never fail. No matter if your time is reduced or increased it, so no matter your QTP script will fail. So I need to say to my QTP that click on this insert order button, wait until this process to be completed, then go ahead and click on this particular button, then my script will never fail. So how we are going to say to QTP that wait for this particular process to be completed, then only go to this particular step is, that condition we are specifying by using the synchronization point. That particular condition we are using, or we are doing by using the synchronization point. Alright, so let me run the script again so that you will see the same issue. You'll see the same issue. Let it run. Alright. Now if you see the same message you got saying that object is disabled. Now let me click on stop. There is no point of proceeding further. So what I need to do, I need to basically say to QTP or UFT that, after clicking on insert order button, wait for this particular message to be displayed. Right? So that means I need to basically insert my synchronization point. After clicking on that insert order button, I need to insert the synchronization point after clicking on the insert order button and before clicking on that new order button. This is the step for the new order button. That means my synchronization point should come in between this step and this step. So for that, I'm selecting the insert order step, right? From where you can insert the synchronization point. If you go to design, under design there should be something called as synchronization point. See this? But why it is disabled? I want to insert a synchronization point, but why it is disabled? Because we cannot insert the synchronization point until and unless we are in a recording mode. That means while recording only you can put the synchronization point. After you have completed with the recording, or if you are not in the recording mode, you can't insert the synchronization point. So what I am doing is, let me switch to the recording mode. That means let me click on that record button. Alright, so let me click on this record. Right now I am in the recording mode. Let me go to design. Click on this synchronization point. So once I click on synchronization point, you will get a hand icon. With that hand icon, I am clicking on this particular text because I need to wait until that text to be displayed. or I need to say to my QTP that wait until this text to be displayed in your application. So click on it. You will get this object selection dialog box. Simply click on OK button. As soon as I click on OK button, you will get this Add Synchronization Point dialog box. You will get that Add Synchronization Point dialog box. And here, I need to give the property name, I need to give the property value, and the time that I am asking my QTP to wait for. That means this is the extra time that I am asking my QTP to wait for. So property name, you have the list of properties here. You have almost 20 to 25 list of properties and values. Out of this, we need to select the appropriate property that matches with our scenario. So we are waiting for this insert done text. We are waiting for this insert done text. So I am going with this text property. I'm going with the text property. I need to give the property value. For that text property, the value that I am waiting for is the exact value I am asking my QTP to wait for. So I am asking my QTP that wait until the exact value is displayed. I should be capital, space, B should be capital, and there should be a 3 dots. Simple thing, right? Now suppose if my car color is red, right, and my number plate is some number, right? So I can always identify based on my red color and based on my number plate. Suppose if my number plate got changed, or in place of my number plate, if some other person's number plate is existing, I'll say that this is not my car because it's not a unique thing. In the same way, your QTP also can identify that it's a insert done messages with the help of the exact value that it is waiting for. So what I'm doing is, I'm coming here. Let me come here. And here I need to give the value. So always the value should be given in double quotations. Open the double quotations. So open the double quotations. Open. Okay. So I is capital. Space. D should be capital. Done. 1, 2, 3. And close the double quotation. I hope it will come. It's a little bit slow. Okay. I is capital. Space. D is capital, insert done with 3 dots. Now I can also give the extra time, or I can provide the extra time for that particular step. Let's say that I'm giving 60,000 milliseconds. So how much is 60,000 milliseconds, guys? How much is 1000 milliseconds? 1000 milliseconds equal to how many seconds? Mathematics. 1 second. 60,000 milliseconds equal to 60 seconds. That means in order to complete this particular step, I'm giving a maximum time of 60 seconds, right? So click on OK. I don't know. So it's a little bit slow, guys. So let's wait until it responds. All right. So let me stop the recording. Let me stop the recording. Now, go to your script and try to see what is the new step that it has added. Okay, this is a new step. Insert done. Synchronization point. What is the property for synchronization point? What is the operation it will take for synchronization point is wait property. Wait property is nothing but synchronization point. Now, in double quotations, text, property name, in double quotations, property value, and the extra time that you are waiting for, which is nothing but 60,000 milliseconds that I have given. Okay. Now, what is the synchronization time we have given? What is the synchronization time we have given? So the synchronization time that we have given is 60 seconds. And if you see, there was a default time. What was the default time? It was 2 seconds. It was 2 seconds. Yes. So it is 60 plus 2. So total for that particular step to be completed, for that insert done message step to be completed, your QTP can maximum wait for 62 seconds. It's not like, suppose if the step has completed within 10 seconds, that means displaying of that insert done message has completed before 10 seconds or before 62 seconds, it will wait exactly for 62 seconds. It's not like that. Suppose the insert done step has completed within 10 seconds, it will not wait for additional 52 seconds. It will skip that 52 seconds and it will go with the next step. That is the beauty of synchronization point. So let's run the script and see so that you can understand better what I am saying about. So click on run button here. Now it started running the script. Last but one step is our synchronization point step. Alright, so it reached to the last but one step. Now see that it's waiting. Until when it waited until that particular step has completed. As soon as that particular step is completed, that means as soon as that insert done message is displayed, it's immediately proceeding to the next step. That is the beauty of, that is the advantage of synchronization point. So synchronization point, it will not wait for exactly how much amount of time that you have specified. Suppose if any task, suppose if that particular step has completed within the time that you have given, or suppose if the step has completed before the time that you have given, it will proceed to the next steps. It will not wait exactly for the specific amount of time that you have given. That is the advantage of synchronization point. Yes, guys. Any questions? Can't we give the wait time directly in file settings run? Yeah, you can give the wait time directly in file settings run, but sometimes if you increase the time also, your script might fail. Right? So I'm explaining you, or I'm going to show you one example, but regarding this we are going to discuss in detail in our parameters concept. So what I want to do is, let me take a different example. In this example, I want to basically book a ticket. After I click on insert order button, the order number would be generated. I want to capture that order number. Let's see whether the order number can be captured after clicking on insert order button. Okay, so let me take a new test. File, new, test, create. Alright, so let me record. Let me click on OK button. So I'm clicking on the top. I'm clicking on this new order button. Enter the date. Select a value here, flight, click on OK, enter the name, number of tickets, class, insert order. After I click on insert order button, what I want to do is I want to capture this order number. So how I can capture is, just try to understand the concept, guys. Don't try to understand how I am inserting everything and all. So just try to see what I am talking about. So output value, so standard output value, all these things I am going to talk in detail in our parameters concept. I want to explain you about synchronization point. That's the reason I am doing. So let me click on this text and OK. All right. Now let me click on this new order button, and now I'm clicking on the stop. Okay. So there is some value that it has come. So let me delete it, because next time it will be 87, 88 and all. So whatever new order number that is coming, I want to capture and store it in this particular place. Okay, now let me run. So it started executing the script. Okay, so it clicked on that. Now, are you able to see the order number there? Did the order number captured? No, the order number has not come. But if you see, I did not change anything in my settings. Or let me go here. Go to File, Settings. I am assuming that there is an issue with my runtime. So I am changing it to 60 seconds. So let me click on Run again. And let's try to see whether the order number would be coming here or not. I want you to observe this particular field, whether the order number is coming or not. Okay, did the order number come? No. I have 60 seconds, but still my order number is not coming. Now, the reason is I have 60 seconds there, or I have 20 seconds there. Let's try to understand what the 20 seconds or 60 seconds is. So what is happening here is I am okay with all the steps. I am not okay with after clicking on Insert Order button. So let me go to that particular place. Alright. Now, I have 60 seconds. That 60 seconds is to perform the step within 60 seconds. Now, let's say that I have 60 seconds and clicking on this insert order button, it has completed in 1 second. It will not wait for another 59 seconds. It will immediately go to the next step. So what is happening is, in the same way, it clicked on insert order button. It has completed within 60, but immediately is the order number displayed there? Now it clicked on insert order button, which is less than 60 seconds it has. It completed its task. Now immediately after clicking on insert order button, my next step is to capture the order number. Is the order number displayed immediately after clicking on insert order button? It's not displayed immediately. So the order number is displayed only, once this particular process is completed. Now, my QTP is not waiting for that particular step to be completed. So at that point, the order number is not able to capture this. Suppose if I say to my QTP that, click on insert order button, insert a new step for waiting until this insert done message to be displayed. It will wait for that particular time. Then it can go and capture the order number. My script will never fail. So what I'll do is, let me quickly insert the synchronization point and see whether the order number would be captured. After clicking on insert order button, the synchronization point should come. Go to design, go to synchronization point. So you got a hand icon. So I am clicking on this insert done message. Click on OK. So here it is text, double quotation, space, done, 1, 2, 3, close the double quotations, and the time I am giving this, on a safer note, I am giving 20,000 milliseconds. Click on OK. Alright, now click on the stop button. Okay, now what I'll do is, let me run the script. So let me clear off this, click on run button, click on run here. Alright, so let's see whether the order number would be captured or not. See, the last third step is for waiting. See that? Order number has come. Now it can be 60 seconds, it can be 20, it can be less than 20, but there are places where we need to insert the synchronization point. If you are not inserting it, my script will always fail. Got it, Vijay? Okay. Do we get to see exact time used for sync points? I'm not clear with your question, Purnima. Can you unmute it and ask? Okay. So I'm not clear with your question. I don't know. Do we get to see exact time used for sync points? That means you are talking about on this step how much time we have to give. Can we know about that? Are you talking about that? Yes. So it's only guess, Purnima. You don't know how much time it can because it all depends on different things. Because we don't know how much time. If we get to know the time used, we can fine tune it. But you will never come to know that because if you remember, I said that automation testing you will not be using right from the first build. Already for a couple of builds you have done the testing manually. So you are observing it from couple of builds how much time every time it is taking. So accordingly you are giving the time. So you will never come to know how much time it is going to take to complete that process and all. So when you already done the testing for a couple of times, you know basically how much time you have to give, approximate time that you can give. So on top of that, you will give some extra time than the approximate time that you have. Now it's a simple logic. Now this particular step, in any case, it will not take more than 1 hour. Or in any case, it will not take more than 10 minutes. Or in any case, it will not take more than 1 minute. So I'll be deciding that, okay, let me give the synchronization time as 120,000 milliseconds. So that is the way approximately I will guess and I'll give it. Alright, any other questions, guys? Okay, so we have already taken 5 minutes extra, so sorry about that, guys. So that's it for today, guys. Any questions you have, please feel free to ask Madhu or on Monday. You can ask the questions to me, any questions you have. But please practice these videos for a couple of times, or please watch this video for a couple of times and then practice the same thing. And also I want you to focus on completing the lab exercises. please complete your lab exercises by Monday, so that the other topics we are going to talk about, synchronization point, object repositories. In some of the concepts, we will be still using these concepts. So that is the reason I am asking you to focus on this and then complete your practice part of it. All right. So thanks for joining us, and I will talk to you on Monday. Thanks, and have a good night and have a good weekend too. Thanks. Bye.